Hi, welcome to HeKate's Crossing. Now what I wanted to do was just to give you an idea of the decks that arrived in 2020, the decks that I received as such. Just to give you an idea, as you can see, my collection sort of grew quite deliberately over 2020. Okay, so now that I've sort of established that, I now want to do the hashtag my favorite tarot in 2020. So I am going to sort of stop here for a minute, sort of sort through the decks into their categories, their thoughts. Let me sort of have a little bit of a think about the different types of decks that I received, the indie decks. I just want to sort of put them into a little bit of categories and sort of see where we're at with my decks. So I will be back shortly. Take care. We'll be straight back. Hi, welcome back to HeKate's Crossing. Okay, you know I just showed you all the decks, and I've just been going through the categories that Mascha had done, Musings from Mascha. My favourites in Tarot 2020. Okay, there's a couple of categories that I don't have, like the Collage decks, the Whimsy deck. I don't have a lot of TDMs, Tarot de Marseille type decks. I just have a few that I received this year, not a lot. So I just want to go through and start with the pocket size decks. Okay, so mass market. Let's have a quick look at the pocket size decks that arrived. Now, they're different categories. Okay, so I got the mass market. Okay, so mass market, I got this year the Steampunk Mini, which is kind of cute. Really little, but kind of cute. And then I got the Universal, right at the beginning of the year. I did get the Universal. I like it because I like the colours, even though it's sort of a Rider-Waite. I like the differences between these is because they're both sort of Rider-Waite based, but they're quite different. Okay, so that was my two little minis that I got this year in mass market. So let's put those two away. Now, minis for indie decks. Okay, there's two I got. Okay, my first one, which I like, it's more of a cultural thing, and it's just a mages only. And it's my only mages only at this time, is the Maori Deity Tarot. This is a travel size, it's very thin deck, but it is gorgeous to work with. Okay. And I did get, I just received Christoph James's Rain Coast pocket size tarot deck. So definitely, I haven't really dived deep into it, but I love the imagery. So I'm looking forward to sort of working a bit more with this, but the artwork is stunning on it. Okay. Now, I also got, as an abstract, was my own Sacred Fractals Tarot from Make Playing Cards. So yeah. It's quite cool as a mini deck as well. So they are the ones that I sort of got this year in mini pocket size. And I know we're not supposed, maybe this is what I got. So anyway, let's put those to one side. Get that away. Okay, the other thing was, let's go for Tarot de Marseille type decks this year. Okay, Tarot de Marseille really started with, the only one I sort of got was a Tarot de Marseille, was this Convoy one that was a Lo Scarabeo. It was a limited edition. It's beautiful, beautiful. And it's got that sort of really nice sort of not complete imagery, sort of printed artwork, which I'm loving. So keep that really carefully in there. Okay, so that was my Tarot de Marseille. But I also got the Spanish Tarot, which I absolutely adore. I love the colours in that. And I got the Ancient Italian, which gives it that real sort of ancient look. Again, you got that sort of, I don't know, I just love that sort of Renaissance, medieval, that early 1700 sort of decks. Okay, and I got the Visconti Sforza. Now I love this as a historic deck. That hand-painted imagery. Okay, so that's those ones there. Oh, what's wrong? I got the drop sticks today. Okay, let's put them away. Okay. Okay, next I want to look at decks that are these will be indie decks that were sort of, I want to look at indie decks that were sort of artish, created, sort of a bit more sort of like sketches, watercolor paints. Let's find it. Okay, preferably other decks included as well, but these are my two. I think would be the Waterfall Tarot by Tarot Oracle by Richard. So love the twist on the Rider-Waite-Smith. This is what really sort of got me back into Rider-Waite-Smith in a way, is getting this. So that's that one. And the other deck I received actually with promotion and everything going on was the Coffee Tarot by Janet Boyer, which I absolutely love. And they sell out so quick. Slightly different in the titles. They've got the element cards in there as well, which I keep, which is quite handy. Just so it adds another depth to the readings. So yeah, the titles are slightly different for the major arcana. And they have the elements as the in the minor arcana. So yeah, they were the sort of really sort of drawing, sort of sketchy type decks that I really felt drawn to, sort of arty type. Okay, indie decks that I've received was, of course, the Waterfall, which I'm not going to show you again. Oh, and of course the Coffee Tarot. Got the, of course, the Rain Coast one, the Māori one. Got Roxana Paul's Māori Tattoo. the vintage one. Let's mark it. Right, we'll mass mark it now. Mass markets. Yeah, I think that's really the indie decks that I saw beside my own. I think was, yeah, basically what I've already shown you, and the vintage Japanese, which I absolutely adore. I love this tarot deck. He creates a lot of these using the art. This is the art, like the history art, which I think is unusual for me. It's not something I would normally do, but I really love the Japanese, the vintage Japanese. And the other one by Roxana Paul is the Maori tattoo tarot, which is an art style of its own. It's quite unique. So I love that sort of connection there. I always feel very drawn to this artwork. I love it. So yeah, those are my sort of indie decks. Okay, so let's look at the Rider-Waite-Smith. So let's Rider-Waite, should have put that upside down. Okay, Rider-Waite-Smith decks. I've really only just sort of started to sort of come into that scene. So even though it isn't my absolute favourite, okay, it is. I quite enjoyed sort of working with this Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I know it's not my favourite imagery. It's just sort of just seemed to sort of really flow without the keywords, but just, I just seem to like the feel of it. So even though it wasn't my favourite Rider-Waite-Smith, it was sort of quite cool. Like I said, I love the Waterfall Tarot for Rider-Waite, and I really, out of everything I sort of saw, I really wanted the Smith-Waite. Okay, it gave me that sort of vintagey sort of feeling to it. It sort of felt like a 1910 sort of type deck. Victorian, if you like, or that sort of older style deck. It's sort of, I like that. So that was one that I really, really enjoyed. So I'm really enjoying working with that one. Okay, then I sort of really wanted to get into the before, the after, the vice versa. Oops. And the vice versa. So really, I'm quite enjoying this variety of sort of Rider-Waite-Smith imagery in a way that's a bit different. So I quite like that difference. So yeah, I think that was really quite cool in the way that sort of was. Okay, so I do want to go, and I only got sort of like one sort of Thoth deck this year. Oops. So I've still only got one Thoth deck, which I just received, so I haven't really explored it too much as yet, just the standard size in the in the Thoth. So haven't really explored it yet, but that's sort of the only one that I sort of got this year as such. Okay. Nature-based deck really got was the Herb Crafter. Okay, so that's really the sort of the only sort of nature-based. Oh well, one second, just there is, as I said, there's the Herb Crafter, which I've really enjoyed working with the energies of the herbs. Okay, now I don't know whether you'd call. So we've got the Herb Crafter, right, which we've looked at. And I did think of the Elemental Power Tarot, as it is sort of nature-based, as it's working with the elements and things, but it also has a sort of a magic sort of feel to it, or a pagan sort of feel to it as well. It's beautiful. The cards are luxurious. I think they just feel so luxurious. They feel quite, I don't know, soft and silky and just beautifully. They actually feel quite heavy. So this is definitely nature-based, or elementals anyway. And it's got a magic appeal to it. Okay, so that goes on to, with those two. I sort of really looked at deities, if you like. So if we're looking at deities, we're looking at the Angel Tarot by and the Dark Goddess. And they're so different. And I love them for different reasons. So to me, the Angel Tarot by Travis McHenry. This is, to me, can use quite a lot like an oracle deck, even though I do use the tarot associations. With the keywords at the bottom, it can be used quite significantly like a oracle deck. Okay, so the next one is the Dark Goddess, right? Dark Goddess, love the artwork. Use this, is quite good for if you're just doing really quick readings to just get the tarot associations, but when you want to get something a bit deeper, meditation, goddess work and things like that, this is a great deck. The imagery is amazing, so love it. So definitely like the Goddess. Okay, so we're looking at that sort of receptive energy, if you like. And so the more active energy I have is the tarot deck of Heroes. Deck of Heroes Tarot. And that's been fantastic. Now this is the one that I edged. Right, so I love the imagery in this. This is quite unique. So I'm loving the energy of this deck. I love the feel of it, the messages that are coming through, the way it reads. Really cool. So that's my sort of goddess. It sort of rolls into the sort of the feminine, the masculine type decks, using those alternatives. Okay, so First Mages only, I said about that. Okay, next one, the last one really, I think, is sort of, oh no, there's a couple of things to get. Here's a tarot deck that doesn't follow any particular system. Okay, the Primordial Tarot. To me, it seems to be its own system. It seems to have its own messages, its own... really does follow its own thing with the different suits, the way it works. Just seems to really have its own It's not Rider-Waite-Smith, it's not Thoth, it's not Tarot de Marseille. It just seems to really carry its own messages. It's just very unique in its own way. Okay, cultural decks. This is the big one. Okay, so cultural decks. Okay, let's have Magical Tarot. Okay, you've seen some of them with the Japanese and the you know, the indie decks. Let's look at the mass market in this one here. Okay, the mass market decks are quite different. Okay, the Hoodoo one, the Hoodoo Tarot. Love this with its root work. Love the Hoodoo Tarot. Absolutely love it. Okay, definitely got the Magical Nordic Tarot. Haven't really used it yet, but I do like Jane Wallace's decks. I like the way, even though they're pips and they have the keywords on them, I just like the imagery, the softness of the cards. Even though these are pips, with the keywords on them, does sort of give you that level. You can choose to either use the numerological and the suits aspect of it, or it does sort of give you that sense of, I don't know, it just feels really, with the keywords on the bottom of the cards, it does sort of really give you that aspect of it, of the messages. So I love, and I just love Jane Wallace's decks. So I'm looking forward to, I've got the Ocean one coming, and I wouldn't mind getting the Crystal and the Angel Tarot decks as well. Yes. So culturally, Magical Nordic, Hoodoo. Now, the Silver Witchcraft, cultural, faith, religious, spiritual aspects. Love the artwork, love the messages, just everything about these decks, just incredible. Absolutely superb. Okay, and then the last one here is the Santa Muerte Tarot. Again, just love the energy, the artwork, the differences, the similarities, just the way it comes together. I actually like using this with the Santa Muerte Oracle, of course. I just love the artwork in that. Okay, so basically that just about covers everything that's sort of arrived this year, except for, okay, the last one is sort of a modern deck. It's sort of mystical. It's Ciro, of course, Ciro Marchetti. It's the only sort of tarot deck I've got of his. I mean, I wouldn't mind a few more, but I think that's it. So this one again, I've edged it with the black, which makes it look amazing, and the artwork. I just love the borderless of the Gilded Tarot Royale. I mean, we've all know the Gilded Tarot. It's been around for a while. Of course, it's been around for a few years, and now we have the Gilded. They have the borderless one, which is stunning. I love the artwork. So yeah, oops, absolutely. So my categories, of course, I didn't have all of Mascha's categories, and I sort of moved them around a little bit because I didn't have any collage decks, didn't get any whimsy decks this year. I got a few minis, and I think all my decks are beautiful. I couldn't sort of outstand any one in particular that really sort of drew me artworky in. Just absolutely gorgeous. I did Tarot de Marseille and other similar style decks, decks that were drawn or painted. that were indie. The indie decks, Rider-Waite-Smith type deck, Rider-Waite-Smith decks that I brought, decks that don't follow any particular system, Thoth, nature-based, mages only. Excuse me while I sneeze. Sorry, excuse me. Lots of culture decks. The stories and myth deck would really basically be the goddess one that you saw. I'm waiting for Tarot of the Divine, of course, to add to that. There's still a couple of decks that I'm still waiting for. But yeah, so that was my very quick look at my favourite tarot decks, decks that I received for 2020, and it's very hard for me to narrow it down, so oops, my collection sort of grew quite profusely during 2020. Anyway, that's it from me. Great idea, Mascha, my favourites in tarot with 2020. Maybe I need to look at my Oracle decks as well that I received. But anyway, that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care.